Hey Kenny, it's Kenny. This is entry number 1, A New Beginning. This is my third or fourth attempt or resurgence of this podcast. It's kind of like my favorite, no, I don't know favorite, but my podcast, like my real podcast, like my shit. And I've always wanted to do it. I did it in the past with some guests. I tried to do it solo and never released it because it seems psychotic to be talking to yourself alone in a room, which quickly brings me to my first point on the podcast, and that's to introduce you to the producer that we have here. You'll be able to hear audio. They actually didn't want a camera on them, so they will not be video. And I thought, who should I get to help me produce the podcast? And I figured, why not a baby? Why not get a baby to come help, employ somebody that's not usually employed and start them young in the job market. So, just welcome Baby to the podcast. This is the producer and kind of...
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm the baby.
Fuck yeah. So, your baby will be looking shit up for me. I'll be bouncing, the softest form of co-host, I guess, type of thing. But just checking the levels, making sure... we already had our first mishap. Surprise, this is the second take of the first episode, because the camera froze and we did not realize it. So
yeah, I had it in my mouth earlier.
yeah, you gotta fucking cut that shit out, dude. You gotta, please. But let's dive right into it. So in this podcast, I'll be giving you updates on, me. You can, if you want to write in, ask questions, contribute in any way to the podcast, you can email us. It's Kenny at gmail.com. Again, that's Kenny at gmail.com. But jumping right into it, baby, have you seen kind of the talk of the town in the comedy world, which is this documentary that came out last week about Chris D'Elia?
I saw some posts online, but I didn't want to believe it, dude.
You didn't want to believe it?
Yeah, he came out in 2021 and he said he was sorry.
Yeah, but he, I know you're young, you can be a little bit naive, but, people sometimes say they're sorry when they're just and they don't mean it, and they're lying.
What do you mean?
Well, did you watch the documentary, baby?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I didn't want to because I thought it was salacious.
Oh, salacious, actually. That's funny because that's not the right way to use that word. What it is, it's actually, that's why you got to be careful how you act around, what you say around babies, because they absorb what you say and they repeat it. So, no, it's not salacious, baby. That was the wrong word. It is, it's just it's done in the sense saying this guy is guilty, and it takes every poke and jab at him that it can, which makes it more uncomfortable. Now, if he's completely guilty of all this stuff, then it's kind of what he deserves, so who gives a fuck? But I don't know. For me, it's harder to digest than if I'm just being present me with these facts, and you can nudge me in a direction, but you're waterboarding me with this information, which, if it's true, I get it. That's why you're doing it. So that's where they're coming from, but still, it's a wild thing. You definitely should check it out, because I think you'll... there's guilt there. There's definitely, it doesn't matter if it's not 100% guilt, even if it's 50%, that's more than there needs to be.
Wow, so it was like a recap of everything that happened?
Yeah, basically they took the kind of testimony interview of 4 different kind of victims that were involved with it, and then his tour manager of a while threw him fucking under the bus, kind of what I mean? But again, if it's all true, it just makes sense. He kind of said that he realized that this was all true as it was coming out, and fucking so he turned on him. And I guess I would do the same to my friend if they did heinous things like this. It's just, I mean, I guess you're never gonna be it's not gonna make sense. I don't do shit like that, so it's not ever gonna make sense to me. I'm gonna be no, something has to be wrong here, because it's like a, it's as a person, he's this behavior's like a virus or something like that, right? It's if a computer has a virus, it's do not compute. I don't know. Do I make sense? Probably never. Should I be talking on a podcast? No, but I bought all the equipment, and I'm a comedian, and they say, hey man, you have to have one. So I'm just doing one blindly for no reason. And here we are. No, I actually put a lot of thought into this, and this is what it is. That's pretty crazy, actually.
Yeah, when was the first time you saw Chris D'Elia?
Like what do you mean? Like when
Like, what was your first impression of that guy?
You mean when I just in general, or are you saying when did I see him ever, or are you talking about from a comedy perspective?
I guess either.
When I first saw him ever is the show Whitney. I watched that show. This is way before I ever started doing comedy. Like, I watched that show up until it got canceled, and he played Whitney's boyfriend. And then I started seeing him pop up, like start taking off as a like just pop up everywhere as a comedian. And then saw him actually perform at the Comedy Store, and he was like, very funny live to watch. But watching his watching his specials and stuff like that, I don't know, like the specials, it doesn't translate for me. Like, I can understand why people were really into it, but seeing him live, very funny, like very, very funny live. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of that shit, I think, loses translation. That's like the game is trying to.
Yeah, I feel like people will like. I think you're trying to big him up when you say he's funny, right? It's more like it's a disappointment. Like, it's like, why is otherwise? Or you seemed okay.
Yeah.
And you ended up being freaking crazy.
100%. But it's a comic. Comics are crazy. Nobody should be looking up to us. Like, you shouldn't be looking up to me or any other comics, really. And like, the only way that I feel like people should be looking up to comedians is if they want to be a comedian and they like, they like the certain comics, like comedy. Like, oh, I wouldn't mind like fucking learning to be as good as fucking Dave Chappelle, so I admire Dave Chappelle. But do I like look up to him for guidance in anything other than fucking dick jokes? No, thank you. Like, that's just not. He's not the. He's like, truly. He's just spent hours and hours on stage and is able to communicate better than, most of the population. And so it's not necessarily like pure intellect. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to you, baby?
Yeah, I'm starting to get it.
Yeah, it's like you're not like, what I mean? Like, there's, I don't know. I could do this all day. I don't like that comics that certain like some people like really look up to comics as anything other than fucking pee pee and poo poo. That's mostly what I talk about on stage. Is kind of like nonsense and shit. Because I'm nobody to look up to. Next point is this is the last week of 2022. It's going to be a new year. Everybody's new year, new me resolutions and stuff. So I figured I'd put it out there. My shit is fucking charge hard on this comedy game the way that I have been. That's pretty self-explanatory. But outside of that, I want to train a lot of jiu-jitsu and actually compete this year, which means I need to lose. I haven't weighed myself in a while, so I need to lose somewhere between 30 and 40 pounds. So that's what I'm trying to do the first half of this year. And get my girlfriend moved in here. Yeah, another New Year's resolution goal, make her move in here.
Whoa, dude. That seems like a big step.
Yeah, I know. But you'll have to deal with it, baby.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. Are you ready to deal with it?
Yeah, of course. What do you mean? She's over here. It's actually more inconvenient that she doesn't live here than
all the back and forth.
Yeah, exactly. Or the fact that I can't, like, it's like each night, like, she'll come over here and then she goes home and goes to sleep, and it's like I have to choose to not go do open mics if I'm gonna hang out with her, or like not go do comedy same shit, not go do jujitsu at night. Like, I could do either of those things, but if she was living here, I could go do that. She would be getting home like kind of while I'm doing that, and then I could come back and fucking still see her and hang out and stuff. But now I have to make the choice. Do I I've been foregoing those things because she doesn't live here. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's just easier if she could be, and she is here like all weekend she's here. You know what I mean? So yeah, like the back and forth is a fucking way more of a nightmare than than anything could be negative of her being here all the time.
Wow, dude, cheers to your new roommate.
Cheers to like I said, she basically lives here already. She's here all the fucking time anyway. It would just be easier. Let's make my life more simple, which I'm always looking for that, right? Other episodes may be longer of this podcast and everything, but I'm gonna have the baby the baby. That's you. Give
Yeah,
me
that's
some.
me.
Do some producing and talk to me about some stories, articles, things, whatever the baby's found.
You know, my parents were giving me something to read earlier, and they gave me the paper.
All right, so they give you the newspaper, and then you can,
Yeah, you know, so I was just, some things kind of stood out to me here, like some lady in North Dakota brought a raccoon to a bar.
brought a raccoon into a bar,
Yeah, she's on probation, man.
like for doing that, or she was like already on probation and she brought a raccoon.
Nah, man, she's on probation for bringing the raccoon to the bar.
Did they bring little tiny handcuffs and arrest the raccoon too?
They would need to because his thumbs are strong.
Ugh, that is the worst part of the raccoon. The thumb. I think that's the thing that makes the raccoon so unsettling is the thumb.
Yeah, the thumbs make it scary. The patch around the eyes make it cute.
And then the standing up on the hind legs make it a little terrifying. Like when they stand up like a person and have their little and like hold their hands in certain ways that look like people-esque. We're just lucky they're not bigger.
Yeah, they'll get a hold of you.
Yeah, I don't. Trash pandas, fucking gross. But they're cute. They're cute but gross. And then possums, people are just like, that's disgusting. Get that shit out of my face. But basically the same thing, right? I think people would be mad. I think there's probably people that are like, possums are marsupials. They have pouches. Do you know anything? I hope that that's right. But I think possums are marsupials. You got any other?
Look it up.
Look at the baby.
It's opossum, right?
Yeah, baby, you catch on to shit fast. I believe it is opossum.
Marsupials. Yes.
Yeah.
Possums. I was going to say opossums. Possums are members of the marsupial order, and they come from the Americas.
So they're from here.
Yeah.
They're native to here. I saw a possum just. I was in the parking lot by the AM/PM near the apartment, and I saw a possum just last night when I was leaving to go eat some fresh Olive Garden. Anything else? You got anything else for me, baby?
Yeah, you know. My bad, I got on this possum kick.
Raccoons, possums.
I was chewing on this phone earlier, too.
Where did you learn these sayings?
You know, chewing on the phone, that's just what babies do.
Oh, you were chewing on the phone. I thought you when you said there's actually a saying like I thought you were going to tell like you read this article earlier and you're like, "Oh, I was chewing on this one a little bit earlier." I don't know, I don't know. It's probably over your head.
This one says US officials COVID bomb cyclones won't slow Santa's travels. And I thought that was good news.
Say this again.
It says COVID or bomb cyclones won't slow down Santa's travels.
Oh, because the bomb cyclones were the cold weather all across.
Yeah, like everywhere was just snowed out.
That's funny. That who was it that I heard? Somebody they got COVID. Somebody's kid got COVID. And then they thought that they weren't going to come. Santa wasn't going to want to come bring them any presents.
Oh, yeah, man. Because it was kind of me.
Okay, I got you.
Because I got something to drop for the listeners out there. Hey, Kenny, it's a baby. You know, I am a baby, but I'm like the inner child of one of Kenny's roommates.
Right, you're like the spirit.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. All right. But it was one of your nephew or nieces.
Yeah. She had COVID. She was worried that Santa wasn't going to be able to come give her the present.
But he took care. Yeah, it was that and the bomb cyclones. Luckily, she lives here in California.
I feel like the bomb cyclones is an easier way to drop that information on a kid. Because it's like, yeah, they're gonna drop it on top of it. It's gonna melt down. You're gonna get your present eventually.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. But yeah, COVID's a tough one because it used to be like Santa's immune to COVID. You got one more for me?
I mean, they're gonna start another festival at Roswell for UFO files.
They're starting another festival?
Oh yeah, they did a festival and now they're gonna do another one. And I don't know. Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's something going on. I mean, the U.S. is releasing documents and videos and all that shit. So there's definitely something going on. I've been watching a lot of Ancient Aliens and shit like that. So I have no choice at this point but to believe in some type of something because it's like almost like the Crystalia doc. There's so much evidence that a certain percentage of it has to be true. I mean, there's just so many different possibilities that that we were once contacted, that we're contacted now. I don't know. A lot of it is hard to, like, when you start talking about it, it's easily dismissible or to think, like, could we really be kept in the dark this much? But if it's, for the sake of crazy shit like this, we probably could. You know what I mean?
I feel like they try to give hints because they're always like, they can read our minds. And I was like, they must really not like us. They haven't decided to stay like once. They're just like, still suck. I'm going to get out of here.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. There's just huge holes that make it so weird. But that's it. The podcast is over. Thanks for listening. We'll be doing these. I'll be doing these more often. It'll be me and the baby. From us to you. Goodbye and Happy New Year, motherfuckers.